Now, let's very precisely understand this topic as it is very scoring from exam point of view and it can get a bit confusing as it talks a lot about historical data of various economists and their definitions of economics. To ease our learning, we have classified the various definitions into four groups. First group, science of wealth, the short form being W. Second group, science of material well-being, short form M. Third group, science of choice making, the short form is C. And the fourth group, science of dynamic growth and development, short form D. So we have four groups, W, M, C, D. W stands for wealth, M stands for material well-being, C stands for choice making, and D stands for dynamic growth and development. Now the flow is something like this. First, we learn the economist's name. Second, we learn which group they belong to, whether they belong to wealth, or they belong to material well-being, or they belong to choice making, or they belong to dynamic growth and development. Third, what definitions were given by them. And fourth, the merits and demerits of the definitions. So the first group who thought economics is a science of wealth has two economists. First economist is known as Adam Smith. Adam Smith is also considered the father of economics for the contribution he has made towards economics. And the second economist is J.B. Say. Now I'm going to provide you with a small cheat, and this cheat will help you learn that Adam Smith and J.B. Say were both talking about wealth. Well, who's Adam Smith? Adam Smith is considered as the father of economics. What does most of our fathers do? They're interested in creating wealth. And then when we become 24, our father says us to earn money. What does our father do? Our father says us. I know it's stupid, but this will help you. Okay, so now we know that Adam Smith and J.B. Say were talking or thinking economics as a wealth. Now let's look at the definitions that were given by them. Adam Smith's definition was published in the book named Nature and Causes of Wealth of Nation. And this book was published in 1776. So you can have a rough idea, way back he said about economics something. And that's why he's considered as the father of the economics. So what was his definition? His definition is an inquiry into the nature and causes of wealth of nations. So what is important for us is all the three things: the book name, the year, and the definition. I'll repeat. The book name was Nature and Causes of Wealth of Nations. The year in which the book was published was 1776. And what was his definition? His definition said an inquiry into the nature and causes of the wealth of nations. Now, let's look at J.B. Say's definition. So, J.B. Say said, economics is a science which deals with wealth. So, he thought economics was a science and the subject or the matter of interest of this science was wealth. So, if we look at carefully the definitions of both these guys, Adam Smith and J.B. Say, Adam Smith stating an inquiry into the wealth of nations, wealth, and J.B. Say saying science which deals with wealth. So both of them focused on wealth. Now let's have a look at the merits as well as some demerits of this definition. Well, let's start with the merits. First, it stressed on important problems like national wealth. Something like what Narendra Modi is, like creating national wealth, progressing the nation. Second merit, it also addressed the problems of economic growth as problems of poverty, unemployment, etc. can be solved to a larger extent when wealth is generated. Like they all wanted to say, if you generate wealth, there will be no unemployment. If you generate wealth, there will be no poverty. If you generate wealth, there will be no illiteracy. So So they kind of, matched every problem of our nation with wealth. The third merit. The definition is focusing on important aspects like production, distribution, and exchange. Because unless there is a smooth base for trade and commerce, there can never be development of wealth. But like any flip side of a coin, this definition has also some demerits. And the demerit is that it is focusing too much into materialistic wealth. There are two types of wealth: materialistic wealth and immaterial wealth. Well, the immaterial wealth is like, the services of the doctor, the services of a teacher. These are like immaterial, where I don't, where I'm providing a service, I'm not providing a material to you. And the second demerit is that it is neglecting social welfare. These definitions are encouraging individuals to grow but not do anything for the society. So these are the demerits of economics as wealth. So now let's study the second group, economics as a science of material well-being. Friends, Mr. Alfred Marshall is a very important name as he is associated from shifting focus of economics as wealth to welfare. He was the guy who said, no, economics is not about wealth, it is about welfare. So he basically from one W to another W, he shifted the focus of the people. Another notable economist under this group is the group of material well-being is A.C. Pigou. So Marshall and Pigou talk about welfare and study about men rather than welfare. Let's quickly dive into the definitions given by each of them. First, let's look at Marshall's definition. It's going to be a very big definition, so keep your eyes and ears wide open. So, what Marshall wanted to say is economics is a study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. It examines that part of individual and social action which is most closely connected with the attainment and with the use of material requisites of well being. Thus, it is on one side a study of wealth, and on the other side, which is the more important side, part of the study of men. So, majorly, he focused on the followings. 1. Ordinary business of life. It means activities which occupy a considerable part of human effort. And second, it studies wealth, but more focus is on the study of the mankind. It's time for cheat code number 2. How do we remember that Marshall gave the material well-being definition? Well, M for Marshall, M for mother. As far as I know, all my mother is concerned about is my well-being, and hence Marshall is all concerned about material well-being. Now, another economist who also falls under this category of material well-being is Mr. A.C. Pigou. Now, Pigou defined economics as the range of our inquiry becomes restricted to that part of social welfare that can be brought directly or indirectly into relation with the measuring rod of money. So, what Pigou wanted to say is, for sure, economics should be material, well-being. Economics should be a social well-being, or for the benefit of the society. But economics is only that part, or only that part of the social well-being for the society that we can measure in terms of money. So, if I did something for the society and I cannot measure it in the terms of money, that is not economics. But if I did something for the society, like I donated 50 blankets and each blanket cost 50 rupees, so now I can calculate what I did for the society, I can calculate in terms of money. And that is economics as material well-being for the society. So, though Pigou emphasized on social welfare, but he was concerned with only that part of the social welfare that can be measured in terms of money, money, and money. So that sums up the definition of Marshall and Pigou. Now, let's discuss the demerits of these definitions. The first demerit is that they again ignored immaterial things like services of a doctor, services of a teacher. And the second demerit is that Mr. Robbins, who we will see in the next one, Mr. Robbins criticized that the concept of welfare was too vaguely written. It was written in a very general and very broader sense, which needed still more clarity. Well, you know something? All these definitions evolved over time. So, what the economist particularly saw in his time, he made a definition according to him. And so, with the changing in times, came changing definitions. Now, before we move further, let's quickly revise the definitions that we have studied so far. First, we saw the group W. W stands for science of wealth. There were two economists there. One, Adam Smith, second, J.B. Say. And we already know the cheat code for this. My father says. Adam Smith wrote a book, and the book was Nature and Cause of Wealth of Nations. Which year was it published? Correct, 1776. Adam Smith is also considered as the father of economics. Then we had J.B. Say. J.B. Say said science which deals with wealth is economics. Then we had group M, science of material well-being. We had two big economists here. First being Alfred Marshall, who said we should study man over wealth, and second Pigou, who said social welfare which can be measured in terms of money.